Okay, guys, we're back. Welcome to Validation Boy live stream, May 8th, 2017. I'm joined by two wonderful guests. First, we have Rusted Soul, and second, we have Flat Still Earth, Vlad the Globe Impaler. Great to have you both on here. How you doing, Rusted Soul?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
So this is your first time. This is your first time doing a live stream?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, wow.
I'm not very good with computers, clearly. So
it took me a long time to get my stuff working too. You know, first couple shows I did, I didn't know how to get guests in. It was real crazy.
Yeah.
And Vlad, are you there?
I am here.
Rusted Soul, have you ever heard of Flat Still Earth?
I have actually. I'm pretty sure I've been subbed for a while now.
Oh, really? Cool. Right on. Thanks.
Yeah, at least a year. I love it. I love your work. I'm a listener. I'm more of a listener, and I've been listening for years, but I haven't actually. This is my first time like engulfing myself into the scene and actually starting to be social within the scene, which is kind of weird because everybody in the real world knows that I'm a flat earther, but for some reason I just haven't really gone into the whole YouTube world. So here I am.
So I'm from Phoenix, right?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I was born and raised there. Are you from there, or are you from somewhere else?
No, you know what? I think I remember. Sorry, I totally remember you saying that at one point. Like, I think you live in Glendale, maybe, or Tempe, or something?
Yeah. I've lived in Glendale. I've lived all over Phoenix area: Glendale, Tempe, Mesa.
Nice. Well, we totally gotta hang out.
Well, no, I'm in Mobile. I'm in Mobile now, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Alabama now.
Oh, word. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I just met this girl that lives in Glendale. That's a flat earther. I just met her a few weeks ago. She's awesome. We've been hanging out and talking and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I was just watching and I watched some of your videos a couple of weeks ago because of the Phoenix City Council thing you went to.
Yeah.
I was like, that's freaking pretty cool. Yeah. So it's cool to be able to talk to you.
Yeah, no, I totally got inspired by Infinite Plane Society and what he was doing. I'm like, what's keeping me from going out and talking? I mean, I already talk to everybody at the bars I go to, and like whenever, everyone, even at the grocery store, is like, oh, it's Flat Earth Girl again, like, because I don't know, I'm just weird. I talk about it to people all the time, but yeah. So thank you.
Are you from that town originally?
Yeah, born and raised in Phoenix. I lived in LA for a few years, and I lived in New York and New Mexico, but I always end up back in Phoenix. It's like a vortex, always sucks me back in.
That's kind of how Orlando is too. People leave Orlando, but they always end up coming back, and there's nothing here. There's nothing here. But
right.
I'll never go back to Phoenix.
I don't blame you.
I'm here in the Gulf, by the Alabama Gulf region, and I fell in love with the ocean here, or the Gulf, I should say. I say it's an ocean, they're saying it's a Gulf, whatever you want to call it. It's a large body of water I've never seen before, and I'm just like in awe over that thing. And then they got a big bay here too, so I've just been awestruck by that.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
So I have nothing in Phoenix really now.
Yeah, I've been trying to get back out, but I got my family here, and I got connections and stuff, and my mom always says you should always bloom where you're planted, right? So I'm just trying to make stuff work and make money, and it's so expensive in LA or New York or any of these places I've tried to live, and I'm like, what, Phoenix is looking really good compared to these expensive ass fucking cities.
Yeah. Did you ever see some Adele's stuff where he goes out in public
Yeah, I did actually. And I actually saw one of his very first videos. Like, he didn't have that many subs, and did something. He was outside where he was like, had some kids' balls and water, was like throwing it around. Like, how does water stick to a ball? And I remember thinking how great, he started actually going out and doing street interviews. I was like, what? That's a great idea. I've actually had my little webcam for a year and just haven't been able to figure out how to use it and how to get it to actually like like, because my phone is connected to it, so if my phone screen gets turned off and the camera turns off, so I just have been using like a regular camera that I just like hung around my neck that, you know, only has maybe 40 minutes of time of battery life, and then I can't use it unless I'm charging it. Like if it's charging, it won't work. So basically a lot of my conversations get cut off and I get all pissed off because I'm like, damn, the best part of the conversation and I can't even record it.
Yeah, because you're like, you got to ease them into it. There's kind of, I guess, a little foreplay or something before you drop the hammer on them, right?
Oh, totally. And now I just don't even give a fuck anymore. Like I just like dropping shit. Like I just walk right up. I just the other day in Austin, I walked up to these guys and just sat down at a table, had a beer. It was, you know, they actually started the conversation. So at the end, they were like, "You're pushing this on us." I'm like, "You started talking to me first, buddy. You know, you're trying to fake the front. Like, you know, if you don't want to talk to me, it's cool." But they stuck around for like hours trying to like debunk me and like debate me. I had, by the end of the night, I had the entire bar like hating me like so bad. Like I had random people coming up to me like trying to like talk shit to me, and I was just laughing at them like, "All right, motherfuckers, whatever." Like, yeah. Anyways, that happens quite a lot wherever I go. I'm like the most hated person here, but also most loved at the same time because like, you know, they'll talk a bunch of shit and then I'll just be like, all right, well, let's play some pool. I'll show you that I don't know geometry, and then I kick their ass at pool and they walk around with like their fucking tail between their legs, you know. So, you know, it is what it is. People have been hating me since 2006, so I'm actually pretty used to it. Like I've been a conspiracy person for a really long time, you know.
I mean, do you feel like sometimes maybe you're kind of like attacking people and sometimes you're kind of sharing with people? It's like a different thing, different vibe each time.
Oh, for sure. Everybody's different, for sure. And I approach every situation differently.
Yeah, based on the situation, right? Like if you're in a place and people are fired up doing some other kind of activism and you got to kind of go with that vibe, right?
Yeah, totally. Like there was a group of people that were at the that march, that scientism march shit, the flat earth day stuff, and they were yelling like that saying, I forget what it is, like, you know, what do we want? Peer review. What do we want? What do we want? Evidence-based science after peer review. And I like yelled at him. There was like 10 of these people walking by, and I was like, no, you guys have it backwards. And they're like all stopped and looked at me. And then the one chick, and I was like, no, you need evidence first, and then do your peer shit or whatever. And she's like, oh, that's right. Okay, we need people like you to tell us. And they all stopped chanting it after that. That was the beautiful thing, is I actually got them to stop chanting their stupid fucking things. So I was like, well, at least they stopped, you know, chanting that shit. I was surprised because there was like 10 of them and one of me, and they actually listened to me. So I was surprised.
Yeah. So what is it? You basically bring a little camera with you that has a 40-minute battery life, and you kind of just, once you start talking to someone, you'll ask them if you can set the camera up, and then they say okay, and then you do, or do you just kind of press record before that? What do you do?
I usually press record before that. In the state of Arizona, it's actually legal to record people as long as you're in public places without their knowledge. So basically, I'm like, you know what? I'm in a public place, as long as I'm not like, you know, trying to record them in the bathroom or in their house or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it's a public street or whatever. They can't really, and I feel like I get more realistic responses. Like when they know that the camera's on, they act different, you know? And I want to get like the raw, because I've been attacked so many times by so many people. Like I've literally, I mean, for 2 years I've been talking about this shit in real life, like with people, and I get so much hate and so much negative shit, and I'm like, dude, I need to record these responses because they're priceless. Like they're really like pretty hilarious and pretty just ridiculous. And yeah, I'm kicking myself that I didn't start doing this like a year ago when I, you know what I mean? Like I've been so many conversations. I met like an old NASA employee when I lived in Cottonwood. Like my bartender buddy called me and was like, there's a retired NASA guy here. You got to come talk to him. I'm like, okay. And like I went, he was like some 80-year-old dude. And actually he started telling me that, I asked him about third celestial body. I was like, so is there like a Rahu or a black sun? And he actually told me, he was like, yeah, and he started talking about it like a matter of fact, like, yeah, there is. And right when he started talking about it, this fucking lady that's with him, his like nurse lady, was like, oh, we gotta go now, sorry. And I'm like, wait, but, and I like gave him my card and was like, call me, we gotta talk. He said the earth was pear-shaped though, or not pear-shaped, egg-shaped. I'm like, all right, well, I don't believe that shit. He was like drunk, weird old guy, but you know.
Yeah.
Conversation.
That is interesting. So have you looked into that Rahu, that black hole sun or whatever it is?
Yeah, I looked into it, you know, more so when I was first getting into it, because that was one of the first questions people asked me was, well, how about the eclipses? I'm like, well, how do we know it's not what the ancients believed, you know? Like, just because they tell you it's the fucking earth doesn't mean that's what it is, you know? And now, like, I just listened to the most recent Glowbusters when they're talking about you know, the black sun or whatever, and the different possibilities. And I mean, I'm fascinated by all of it, and the whole Planet X. I used to be a total Nibiru, like, oh my God, Nibiru's coming. We gotta fucking dig a bunker underground or something. And now I'm like, oh, well, if shit happens, then shit happens. And there's nothing being underground is not going to save you. You know, like,
Yeah.
if like that's something like that were to happen or whatever, it's, I don't know. Sorry,
Now,
I feel like I'm talking about it.
no, that's great. That's great. So when it comes to, I noticed like your videos, it's mostly men. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it because? Is that just it just occurs organically that way? Is it just because men are more likely to talk about some kind of subject, these kind of subjects with someone?
That's crazy.
You
That's
think that's what
actually funny. It's funny you bring that up because I was just thinking that the other day that most of the people that I've been talking to more recently are men. And, you know, I go out to bars, I play pool. Like most of my girlfriends, like they like to go out to like clubs and, you know, places that I don't really like to go. So I find myself basically, I take myself out on dates and stuff, and I'll just go out and like, you know, like play pool, have fun, talk to people. And yeah, the guys are usually way more open-minded than the females, which sucks because I've met some really amazing chicks in the scene. And I'm like, I know at one point that they weren't a flat earther. So, you know, I know, like, and I've talked to a few girls about it. Actually, in Austin, I have a recording. I still have to edit out all my videos from Austin because I just got back. But I talked to a couple of girls about it, and this one girl actually almost tried to fight me over it. Like she was like, "Just walk away, just walk away." And I'm like, and I didn't even go up to them. They like that guy that was talking shit at the bar to me, like went and told everybody at the bar. So that's why everyone started coming over and talking to me. And so the girl starts a conversation with me, and then when I started telling her stuff, and she's just like got pissed. Like she's just like, "Oh, you never heard of Copernicus?" and blah blah blah. And she starts like getting all like, I'm like, "Why are you getting mad at me for?" Like and she's like, "Just walk away, just walk away." I'm like, "Okay, what are you gonna fight me now? Like, is that what's happening?" Like, I don't know. I don't understand the mentality behind people wanting to like literally like fight and yell at people that they don't even know over the shape of the earth. You know, it's just kind of blows my mind. But to answer your question, yes, definitely guys are more open-minded in general than girls are. I've had a lot of very nice girls kind of like, I don't know why.
But so you've had this conversation with random, you know, females, and they've kept a level head throughout it. That's happened too.
Oh yeah, there's been a couple for sure, and most of them just kind of laugh, and they're like, well, I don't really care, it doesn't matter. Like they just basically are like, you know. And I had one of my girlfriends, she's not really, she's like, it's stupid, but I enjoy hearing you talk about it. So she'll come with me to a bar and be like, "Hey, by the way, this is Jen. She thinks the earth is flat." And I'm like, "Oh," it'll just be like the first thing, and like, and then she'll be like, "And go," and like, you know, like that. And some of the girls, like, you know, if there's another female with me, I feel like it's kind of an icebreaker for other girls to, like, I don't know if the other girls are like intimidated or if it's more of like I mean, I really don't know what it is, but for the most part, like, they don't care, and they're just like, okay, and they roll their eyes at me, and they're like, "You just don't know anything about, you know, math and like physics and shit." I'm like, okay, whatever.
Like, as if they do or something, right?
Yeah, well, and that's the funny thing is that most of these girls, like, I'm like, "Oh, so what do you do for work?" Like sales or like whatever. I'm like, "That's cool." And like, you know, I'm a seamstress. I make clothes. Like I draft my own patterns. Like I have to know math. Like actually, when I first started looking into this whole thing, I thought of it in terms of like, all right, well, if I were to make a skirt for the earth, like what would the waistband have to look like? You know, like how much curvature would there have to be? And I actually figured out the math myself first. Like, all right, well, if it's this big, you know, and I don't know, I basically, like, I think in those ways, I think that's what helped me to get into it in the first place, is because I do, you know, have to do a lot of math and a lot of like, you know, like I'm, you know, thinking of shapes and how different things fit. Everybody is different, so you have to, you know, adjust your pattern accordingly. And I yeah, I mean, I'm very much into playing pool. It's been like 10 years now. I've been like pretty avid pool player. So that's another thing that tends to piss the guys off, because they try to talk shit about, I don't know anything about geometry. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. I'll come show you what I know about geometry. Like this one guy got really mad at me about it because I kicked him. Like he literally had one shot, and I'm usually not that good, but for some reason, I swear there's like pool gods out there that are like on my side or something whenever there's somebody talking shit to me. And like, I don't talk shit back. I don't say, oh, I'm going to kick your ass, and I don't get like that. I'm like, all right, let's play a game of pool real quick. And, and then all of a sudden I'll just do great. And out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. Thanks, pool
Just
gods.
Like deadly assassin, surprise deadly assassin on the pool table. And they're just like, oh, they get totally fucking punked out and they just shut their mouth, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. The guy literally like walked away from me. Like he didn't even get to shake my hand. I'm like, you're not even gonna shake my hand, and I'm like yelling from across the board. I'm like, what are you booty hurt about, man? You can't even shake my hand about it. Like it'd be cool, it'd be nice. Like, all right, cool, bye. Like,
I never really thought about this type of situation, like the kind of situations you said that you found yourself in, somewhat often, where in a bar, like a loungy setting, and people are out in public, but they're also, drinking and stuff. So, and then, you got guys who are there and they're obviously looking for girls, and then, you're willing to hang out with them. So that of course, guys are going to be guys and stuff. And then all of a sudden you're telling them that the earth is flat and blowing their mind with physics that they haven't thought about since they were like, 16 or something. That's hilarious. I think that's just hilarious.
No, it is. It's comedy. Like, and that's why my friend she would come along with me just to witness it and just to laugh and like just make fun of guys actually. Because guys would get really like super defensive, and then she'd start clowning on him. Because she's from New York, like upstate New York, so she's got this like heavy accent. She's super she's a really tall, big, kind of like scary kind of chick. You know what I mean? And like she'll just straight like punk the dude, like because they'll start getting. Cause I'm like 5'2", and they'll sometimes guys have like started to kind of look up on me. Like this one dude started like literally like yelling, and she stepped in between him and was like, "Look, motherfucker!" and like straight just put him in his place, like my little bodyguard kind of. It was pretty awesome, but yeah, it's weird to see people's reactions and see them like just and I mean alcohol. It kind of reminds me of like behind the screen, like when people talk a lot of shit when they're like behind a computer screen, like hiding, and so that's why I like to take it out to the streets where I'm like, oh, you can't hide behind a screen, motherfucker, like what are you gonna do? And basically. But
these are also these people that you're confronting are typically people that have no kind of conspiracy background at all, right? I mean, total normies, right?
No, actually, I did meet this one guy. He was an old vet. He's the one that told me that chemtrails are actually a backdrop for holograms, and that it's like makes a perfect like backdrop basically. And so I don't know. I basically just was telling him about it. He was like, "That's just so stupid," and he couldn't wrap his head around it. But I kept bringing up the chemtrails and the stuff that I knew he did believe in, 9/11, all that. So that kind of helped break the ice a little bit because I was not.
Yeah.
On that whole thing here, so it helps to get him to actually kind of open up to it. You know what I mean? It's definitely one of those things that there's. I tried to like find a common ground first, like break the ice a little bit, like you said, a little bit of foreplay, like just whatever it is, like just joke about something that's going on at the moment, like. And I mean, some people are really nice. Like I've met a few guys that I was surprised at, and they were smart, intelligent people. And it's usually the more intelligent ones, you can tell by the way they talk. And they're usually the ones that are actually more open to it, which is surprising because, like, I don't know. I mean, and people that say that they're like, I met an engineer guy, like, I'm an engineer, and I'm like, well, you're clearly not that bright if you're like yelling at me about some shit. You can't even carry like a decent conversation without yelling at me. Like, shouldn't shouldn't be that hard.
They don't realize they're doing it. They go into that place and they don't realize how little control that they really have over themselves.
Yeah.
People don't realize how little control they have over themselves a lot of time, most people.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I was gonna kind of ask you this, like you're out and you're in the bars and you're socializing, you're there to meet friends and stuff or make new friends and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so so do you find that dropping the flat earth hammer on them is really do you feel like and this, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not asking you this in the negative, but I'm saying, do you feel as though this might be one of the best ways for you to kind of sort through the chaff and just kind of see who's who right away?
Oh yeah, it definitely, it shows me the true colors immediately. And that's one of the things that I actually tell people when they ask me why, like, why are you going to come to a bar? We're all trying to have fun. And why are you talking about this? And I'm like, well, you know, it weeds them out, you know, it weeds out my true friends. I've lost friends. I lost a boyfriend because of this topic. I've lost people close to me because of this topic. So it's, you know, to me, it tells me, well, then I guess you didn't really care about me that much if you're going to drop me just because I all of a sudden, you know, started looking into this other, you know, thing that pisses people off. I have no idea why. It really just angers people like so bad. Like I have no idea why it does. I can't. I'm trying to like figure out like this physical side of it because, like, you know, I got friends that I was friends with for years and years that are just like, I can't even talk to you anymore because of this. Like, you know, because I'll crack jokes about it. I mean, too, like I know certain people I can't talk about it in front of, so I won't. But then, like, sometimes I just can't help myself. You know, like, certain thing comes up, and I'll just crack like a little flat earth joke here and there, and it just like infuriates them. They can't even laugh about it, and I'm like, all right, well then I guess we're growing apart. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Like sometimes you just grow apart from people, and you just can't, you know. Yeah, I mean, I can't force somebody to love me or to be my friend, you know? Like, if you don't want to hang out with me, that's totally fine. I'm going to go have fun no matter what, you know? So,
yeah. And regardless of if certain friends can be flat earthers or not, there's just a certain level of friends that will stick with you no matter what.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I got a friend who I've, you know, known for, 20 years now, and the guy doesn't agree with me about flat earth, but we don't have to talk about it, or we can totally talk about it all the time. He didn't care, you know. But that kind of segues perfectly because when I talked to the other guest on my show tonight, Vlad Flat Still Earth, I talked to him all the time in private, and I talked to him last night, and I said, what do you want to talk about tomorrow on a show? And he said, you know, let's get onto the topic of, and this is before I even invited you on the show. And he said, let's get on the topic of, what'd you say, Vlad? You said introducing this topic to like your closest friends and your closest family and like the best ways to do it.
Well, yeah, how to explain it better so they can get a little bit more grasp. Because I have a sister that I've been trying to talk to, the one that lives in Phoenix actually, and she's still not getting it. She came out here a couple of weeks ago to visit, and I was trying to explain to her in person, you know, versus on the phone or trying to send her videos. And she's like, I don't get it. And I'm still not understanding it. You know, and I think, you know, they kept bringing up, her and her husband kept bringing up the whole thing with space. And I'm trying to explain to them, like, there's no space. You know, whatever we see above us is above us. It's not all around us. No, I said, you got to really grasp that, you know, and there's nothing underneath, you know, and I was just trying to explain it. So that's why I was wanting to just go over me and whoever in the chat, you know, just ideas of, bounce off ideas of how they have, or, you know, how we can talk to friends and family, you know, to let them help them understand it a little bit better.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's crazy because since every personality type is different, you really have to think of like different strategic ways to bring it up in front of certain people. Like some people learn better with the visual and need to have, like, I worked with my old manager, she couldn't grasp it either without, like, I showed her just the, you know, Rob Skiba's little video that he did with the sun and the moon going around. And she's like, oh, well, now that I saw a visual, she's like, day and night, how does that work? And I'm like, and even though it's like probably not legit or whatever, I mean, we don't really know what paths the sun and moon's taking. I mean, for all we know, there could be multiple suns and multiple moons. But, and I explained that to her too, like, this is just, you know, our idea of what is possible. But once she saw it, she immediately was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I'm a visual person too, you know, I had to see the visual before I could even grasp it myself and like really understand, you know, like what, you know, because when you think about it, it is a complicated topic. It does have a lot of questions, but it's not something that's going to be, you know, figured out or talk, you know, you're not going to be able to cover all of the topics, all the questions that they have in like a 5 or a 10 or a 20-minute conversation. You know, it's like, and that's what I've realized my biggest challenge, like with my mom, for example, like she doesn't care. She's like, I don't see why it matters. It just doesn't matter. like, what's it gonna do? I still gotta go to work. I still gotta do shit. I still gotta like, you know, whatever. And I'm like, and I get that. I totally understand that. Some people only have a certain amount of mental capacity to be able to even consider anything else because they're so overwhelmed with life and the hustle and like, you know, all the bullshit that goes along with life and like keeping in contact with your friends or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think that definitely, you know, sometimes I don't even come out and say that I'm a flat earther. I'll start out just saying like, you know, bringing up weird facts that I found out, like, you know, the whole, you know, we've only drilled 7 miles down and, you know, the core of the earth is molten. Like, how do they know what the hell the core of the earth is, you know, like, and, you know, just little weird fun facts I'll start bringing up first just to kind of try and like break the ice or whatever. And then that will do like other things like, oh, and did you see that ISS video or that whatever it is, you know, whatever's going on at that time or whatever that pops into your head. Because there's so many things that, you know, my brain's like on overload with like the stuff that I've learned through the past 2 years. And it's like trying to pick and choose like the best ones, like the dark side of the moon to me is so obviously CGI. And once I show people, like I'll have my phone and have, you know, stuff up on my phone and be like, what does this look like? Does this look like, you know, kind of like what you know, what math and you know, flat earth asshole and stuff, what they do, like with the whole whatever, except I'll have my phone and be like, okay, does this picture look real to you? And just ask like that, you know, it just kind of is like an icebreaker or whatever. And just to, you know, some people just be like, oh yeah, that's totally fake. And then I'll tell them, oh, this is actually from NASA's website. And they say this is real. And they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah. And, you know, just little things like that. Sometimes just kind of making a joke out of it, not being too heavy like right off the bat, you know, and then because it'll once they figure out what you're doing, once they figure out that you're a flat earther, then they'll start you know, getting all riled up or start asking with more questions, and you can kind of go deeper with them if they're willing to. And you know, not everybody's willing to, you know, some people are just like whatever, and you can't force anybody to you know, to believe you or to even listen to you, you know? So at the end of the day, I've had lots of people just walk away from me and be like, I can't, you know, and I'm cool with that. I'm like, all right, hi Felicia, you know, I say shit like that to people, like, whatever, you know, regardless, like I'm going to do what I do and I'm going to have fun while I'm doing it. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day. And if you're not meant to be in my life, then you're not meant to be in my life. And I'm perfectly fine with pushing people out that are going to be mean and nasty and negative to me about it. Like, cool, you let me see. Like a lot of guys too, like they'll be trying to hit on me or something, and they're like this one guy's like, oh, like you're so cute if you weren't like into this stupid bullshit, if you weren't so dumb, like give me all these insults. I'm like, oh yeah, it's really gonna make me want to date you now. Like, you're fucking telling me how stupid I am. Like, great, like a lot, you know. So yeah, everybody's different, and everybody's gonna have their different things that they're into, you know. And if you're not into it, you're not into it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm really fortunate. My girlfriend of about 6 years now. You know, she got on board with it right away, right along with me. You know, we were watching all kind of cool stuff, and then this came along. I held on to it for like a week or something. I don't remember how it went down, but I told her about it, and she's right on board with it. You know, she knows, she's up to date on everything pretty much that I know that's ever happened. There's a lot of stuff in the flat earth community that has happened that I've not been a part of, but you know, I've also been involved with certain other more well-known people, more so than some of the people who are in the middle range. I consider myself one of the very small channels, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've always liked your stuff. I've always liked your perspective and the way that you speak. It's like very like sounds very intelligent, and like I think I actually found you through John LeBon. I used to, that was that whole roundtable show was one of the shows that actually, like, you know, like the Wakey Wakey and Matrix Decode and stuff, like those guys, like I really loved listening to their talks and stuff, and I really was like, all right, well, so there are some like real legit people that sound very intelligent and can like carry on an educated, respectful debate on the topic, you know, and like not just lose their shit completely like most people do, or most globies do, I should say. But you're lucky. I mean, it's rare. I've discovered flat earth while I had been with somebody already for 2 years, or like a year and a half or something. And I mean, we already had other issues also. I mean, that wasn't the only issue, but he wasn't into conspiracies at all. And like, I was super into conspiracies and 9/11. He's from New York and he didn't want anything to do with it. He's like, I know people that died there. I'm like, really, who? And he couldn't tell me any names. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. You didn't know anybody. You don't fucking lie. Like, yeah, you lived in Long Island. You saw this shit. Like, I'm not saying that, like, there wasn't a bunch of smoke, or not smoke, but a bunch of dust and all that, you know. I'm not saying the buildings didn't fall. I'm just saying, like, we don't really know what happened. And, you know, all of the stories that they tell us is bullshit, you know, and it took him about a year to even start looking into that. Judy Wood and stuff, I started showing him that kind of stuff like about a year ago, and he was like Judy Wood is the one thing that made him start thinking about it, which is cool, because I'm like, all right, finally got somebody like, you know, so now he's like, that's bullshit, and he's on board with that, and he's starting to, because we're still friends and stuff, but like, you know, he's just like, I can't handle being, you know, with friends, family, anybody that's gonna like belittle me or be like, you know, tell me like, oh, you know, I don't want to hear this shit. Like, all right, cool. I got my computer and my headphones. Where you go do your thing, play your video games, like whatever makes you happy. You know, it's not going to interest everybody. And I understand being in a relationship with somebody, if they're going to be about something, like you want to share that with them. And that's my biggest issue is like, I don't feel like I should have to put something aside. If I'm into something and the person I'm with isn't into it, then we're clearly not meant to be together, you know? And that's really what it comes down to, is just letting people be how they want to be, and, you know, accepting them either way. And we have to do the same thing as a community to our friends and family. We need to be able to accept people, you know, if they want to cling to the globe model, then let them, you know, like I'm not going to push it on you. Like, I mean, I might crack jokes here and there, and if that bothers you, then don't hang out with me, you know, like that's the way it just goes both ways, you know?
Well, I'm sure that doesn't have to always be the case. You know, I'm sure that there's a bunch of people that are well known and long into the whole flat earth thing, where their significant other probably doesn't really care to know either way. I don't know. What's Vlad's situation on that? What's your situation with that, Vlad?
Well, I've talked about it before. My girlfriend now, she's kind of open to it, but she has the concept that everybody else does. You know, like I still got to get up in the morning and go to work.
Yeah.
You know, a big deal. You know, so she just not fully grasps the dynamics of how important it really is, as far as I'm concerned. Damn, there's a plane going above me. But yeah, she's not rejecting it. You know, sometimes she gets frustrated because I'll be up all night, you know, and she's trying to sleep, and I'm sitting in bed watching video. I have my headphones in, but the light from it, I'll be watching videos or something, or working on a video, and she's like, ah. She's like, so gasp. But it's not an issue. So,
yeah, well, you're lucky. That's awesome. 'Cause I've known guys too with the same issue, where their girlfriends are like not cool with it, and I mean, it sucks, you know, because you want to be able to share that with the person that you're sleeping next to, you know, and I mean, obviously everyone's into their own things, but you know, if you can come to a middle ground with somebody and be understanding and be like, okay, well, you know, as long as you accept me, I accept you. Like, they're, you know, we can all get along. They're the stars, you know.
Before I forget, I wanted to show. I just watched your video about your shirt you made.
Yeah.
It reminded me. It reminded me of something I did back in 1992. I made a shirt, and guess what? I still have it too. I'm going to show it. I want to see if you can see it.
Why don't you show us?
Nice. I love it. That's awesome. That's way better than what I did.
Yeah, I had a stencil kit, and I made that. I still got this after 25 years. I just came across it, some stuff I had packed up, and I seen that video. I was like, oh my god, I got to show her since you're in the show.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, it's cool that you still got it after that long. It's still got, like, most of my shit that's old, like, you know, it's got holes in it, and I don't even wear it anymore. Like, I'll cut out this shirt even. Sorry.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Hendrix shirts, and they have like little. I don't know what happened to them. They got little tiny holes around the collar and around the waistline. It's weird how that happened. Like I got like 3 Hendrix shirts, and what I can't wear now. But
well, you know what you can do actually if you want. Like you could get like a shirt, like a regular shirt, like that doesn't have anything on it, and send me the shirt and in the Hendrix, and I can cut it out. Like what I did with this shirt, basically. Can I show you if I can? But it's like an old circus shirt from like the 90s. Yeah. And it's been on 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th shirt it's been on because I wear it so much. So it's like basically whenever the shirt runs out of juice, I cut it out and put it on a new shirt. And you know, it's just kind of a way of recycling your favorite stuff and being able to still wear it. You know, I do that for a lot of my friends. Like put it on a hoodie or like, you know, whatever. Like I'm actually working on a flatter clothing line right now. Like this, I'm gonna screen print the map on like circle skirts. So basically, when you're like sitting down, like the map like surrounds you, and you're like the North Pole basically in the middle, or like the magnetic. Yeah, like my mom's like, oh, like Mount Meru in the middle. I'm like, oh shit. My mom's like, you should make like a little hat that looks like a little mountain. I'm like, or one of those like the mesas or whatever that everyone thinks is like really trees and shit. I laughed to myself. I'm not really gonna do that, but you know, it kind of makes me laugh. But yeah, so I mean, actually I've done quilts before. I mean, I had old t-shirts, like old band shirts and stuff, you know, because everyone's got those old shirts that are just worn out, you know what I mean, and they want to be able to like reuse or recycle.
I sold a couple years ago. I sold a bunch of my concert shirts from back in the 80s and 90s, and
oh man,
I had a Slayer shirt. The thing was like paper thin. It was paper thin, and it sold for $130 for a concert.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say you get money for that shit. Like,
yeah, and then I had a Danzig shirt that sold for $175. It was
damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was telling BB about that. I had a bunch. I have had tons. I actually made probably about $25,000. Well, it's about $24,000 I made with all my concert memorabilia I had. And I had concert tickets, so concert shirts. I had a bunch of posters. You know, the death metal stuff sold the most and the fastest and the most price. Yeah. I mean, that stuff was selling like crazy. But I'll have a little bit left. I have like my Van Halen. I have my Van Halen stuff just recently sold. All the stuff I had to them. I have like random CDs and stuff I haven't sold yet. But all the posters are gone. I had like 210 posters. And I have like 4 left.
Dang, that's crazy. That's awesome though. Like, you know, you can make money off of cool stuff that you've held on to throughout the years, and you're not like, you know, attached to it. Like, you know, that's cool way to make money.
See, I was raised, I wasn't allowed to hang up posters, right? So I would buy them, and sometimes I would hang them up. So there were some of them that had holes in them, but most of the posters I was collecting when I was a teenager. And so when I got older and I got a house, I was going to have wall-to-wall posters, you know, the ceiling, the floor. I was going to put plastic down, you know, like plastic. So everything was just posters everywhere. So I was collecting all these. So they were like mint. I wish I would have kept them in the original plastic, but they were in mint condition. This all rolled up in this giant roll, maybe about 8 inches thick of just posters. You know, I started rolling those things out. I forgot I even had all those. So it's pretty shocking to even look at them. None of them, you know, half of them or I say 70% of them weren't even ever hung up.
Yeah, that's dope. I love that when you look through your old stuff and find a bunch of like old gems from back in the day. It brings back a bunch of memories and stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Word. So how long have you guys been friends for?
Since let's see, October, I think, last year we started talking, BB.
Really? Wow.
I think it's been October, September, October last year. That's when I got back on here. I said I took a 9-month break because of some just all the nonsense that was going on 2 years ago. And when I got back into it, VB was one of the ones I stumbled into, and so I started talking to him. I would just be in chat and going in chat, typing away. And then he asked me to start going on, so I started going on. When did I start going on? Well, about a couple months. I think in January was it December? I think December was the first time. And then a couple times, and then just a couple every once in a while I go on.
You're my most recurring guest.
Yeah, I know, it's like seven times now.
Nice, that's awesome.
Dang. But yeah, so I mean, there was some stuff. I forgot to do it earlier. I gotta do it right now. I gotta give the first 5. It's a tradition in the Validation Boy live stream.
You're late.
So, in at number 1, was They Lie, Ohio. And at number 2 was Earth Sweetheart. And at number 3, Nathan Oakley. And at number 4 was Richard Clark, because I'm not counting this other one that I saw. And then at number 5, officially, it would have to be John LeBon. I'm actually skipping two sock accounts that don't count. So real people that really exist, those are the first 5. So it's official. So so you said you were into John LeBon's channel a long time ago too?
Yeah, I still am. I still watch all his dinosaur stuff he's been coming out with. I find like very fascinating. Like, you know, even though I don't agree with him now on his, you know, actually I don't know now because he could have changed his mind. Just, you know, who knows? Maybe he thinks the Earth is a squiggly line. I don't really know. But I was very inspired by him for sure in his show in the beginning, and you know, even though like, you know, people, you know, I can't, like, I still like him. Like, I still like his content that he puts out. I still think that he makes some really good points. And, you know, got me thinking. I was like, shit, maybe the Earth isn't flat. And then I was like, nah, he's gotta be joking. Like, you know, and then I was like, oh, well, you know, that's what he thinks. But I didn't agree. But, you know, I'm still a fan of his. I still watch his stuff. So, you know, try to keep an open mind. Try to practice what I preach a little bit, you know?
Yeah. What are some other early channels that you were most into, or that you were most zealously taking your info from? The stuff that you would like approach people with. What were some of your best sources early on?
Well, one of the I'd say that Wakey Simplified, the Flyer Simplified, Summarize and Theorize. That one was my my go-to that I always sent to people, just because he was so calm, and like he just right off the bat is like showing you like, okay, 8 inches per, you know, some of the other beginner videos, you know, were not necessarily that to it, you know. It'd be like a bunch of other, like I only recently started listening to Globebusters, and it's because of John LeBon, because of all the shit that he talked about. And I was like, I gotta check these people out, man. Like, he's talking so much shit about him, and now I'm like a huge fan. So I got to thank John for actually introducing me to the Globebusters crew and stuff, because I actually really like what they have to say, and I like their stuff that they talk about. And, you know, I first listened to one of Jaren's like first videos, like, you know, couple years ago or whenever it was, and I didn't like his voice. I didn't like the way he sounded. There's something about him that just like, I was just like, I don't know, he sounds a little angry, and I was still in my beginning stages of like, and I couldn't handle like hearing somebody just be like, you know, I just wasn't feeling it. But now I listen to him, I'm like,
wait, who?
Jaren.
Oh, Jaren sounded angry to you?
When in the very beginning, yeah, there was maybe it was just one video that I clicked on, but he sounded very
yeah, there's a couple of videos he sounds angry in. I mean, he's not angry in
one. He doesn't sound as much like that now. And then after I heard that Amy interview with him, or a debate or whatever, and I was like, wow, he kept his cool, like considering how much of a bitch that chick was, and like how crazy she was. And so I started gaining more respect for him. But I mean, that just goes to show you that you shouldn't base anything off of your first impression, you know what I mean? Because my first impression was that I didn't like him, and then after I gave him another shot, I was like, oh wow, he actually makes some really good points, and I actually really like what he has to say. And I guess I just clicked on a video that he sounded angry for a minute, and it turned me off because I was so new to it that I was like, you know, there's so much out there, so many videos to choose from. Like, you know, the very first one I saw was the comedy thing with Matt Powerland, and I was laughing. I was like, this is great. And then I saw Mark Sargent. Actually, Eric Dubé was another person that I didn't like when I first heard him. I didn't like his voice. I thought he sounded really annoying, and like I just didn't like the way he sounded. But I've shared more of his videos than I have probably anybody else throughout the years, you know, just because it is like very informative. And even if it's not his work, or it's, you know, taken from other places, or it's all scripted or whatever, you know, he's still put out good videos and stuff. So, you know, even though like and that's why I give people a couple chances sometimes and be like, all right, you know, just because I didn't like one video doesn't mean that they don't have anything. It's kind of like an album, like music, you know, I'll like 2 or 3 songs off of an album, off of the rest of shit, but I'll take what I can from those couple songs, and, you know, it might be like the most epic, best songs ever, and then the other songs are just, you know, I'm like, I'll leave those aside. It's like information with anything that you gather, you know, like, okay, I can pick parts of, you know, like the Mandela effect stuff. I don't know if you guys are into that at all, but like, you know, well, like a lot of those videos I can't stand. Sorry.
Well, let me stay on this subject for a second. So do you feel like, this is a two-part question, really. Do you feel like
Okay.
certain people are worth getting this idea through to more?
Okay.
And secondly, do you feel like when you are dealing with those people that you find maybe more open and that are maybe more worthy of this knowledge, or at least the knowledge of this, theory, because officially it's still flat earth theory. Do you
Yeah.
find it the better way? I don't know. Do you find it better to directly show them someone's work, or do you find it more effective to get this information through to them if you are taking all this knowledge that you have and then personally delivering it to them?
That's a really good question. That's because it really does vary. Like some people, as soon as I pull up I don't even have YouTube on my phone. I'll just pull my phone out and be like, look at this. And it could have been a picture they don't even know. But they'll go, oh, it's YouTube. No. And they immediately shut it down. And they immediately are like, oh, if you can't tell me in your own words, then you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Or, you know what I mean? Like that whole, so it's like, it's hit and miss. And those people, then I just start school and I'm like, all right, what do you want to know? Like, let's talk about it, But there are some people that do learn better and are, better at just at looking at videos and looking at stuff like, here, when you get home, check this out. That's why I made the little flyers that I made, like, basically just a list of people that I think put out good content and have good videos that are easy to watch and easy to, they're very basic level, videos and stuff. But I have ODDs on there. I got the Wakey video, got the gyroscope Globebusters video. Because I think it's important to throw in, like Brian Mullen too, like, people that are actually trying to do like experiments and stuff and show, but yeah.
Did you ever see the My Perspective channel?
Oh yeah, I love My Perspective. I've actually shared a few of his stuff too. I mean, there's so many. And that I really love. There was actually this woman that works with me. She's a seamstress also, and I listen to stuff all day while I'm at work, it's nice. That's the one thing I do really enjoy about what I do is I can just listen to stuff all day. And that flat earth, flat water, how he reads, different like old books and old texts and stuff. And I actually turned her on. She's probably like 60 something. And I sent her a link to like one of those old stories, and she's like, "Oh my God, I loved it. It was so interesting." It was like the one where the son and the father's son went on the expedition to like to like beyond Antarctica or something, and he just basically reading from a book, but it's interesting, And like I love stories. Like I listen to books on tape all the time. Like I just got done listening to The Art of War and like the Celestine Prophecy. I was making fun of it because the guy starts talking about how he went up to some mountain and meditated and went into the stars and, was hanging out in the universe basically and shit. And I was like, oh, this guy's full of shit. Like, turning this off. I'm done with you. Because, Celestine Prophecy is one of those that everyone like hypes up. Like, oh, this is such an empowering, amazing book. And I was like, that's garbage. Just because he said he went to space in his mind and I didn't believe him. So it immediately, now I'm turned off by certain things where normally a few years ago, I'd probably been like, wow, that was amazing. Just because, I didn't know any better. And now I'm like super skeptical on like every level of everything basically, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's actually good to be skeptical of everything, even our own model, our own stuff, we got to keep each other on our toes, That's why I still like listen to John LeBon, like you got some good stuff, you found the curve, where's it at? Show me. So
yeah. What's your feelings on like, I don't know are you familiar with my whole thing that I'm constantly repeating?
What's that? I'm not sure. I don't know. Probably not.
Basically what, detractors such as these guys who will remain nameless because the show's not about them.
Oh yeah.
But you know about all that stuff?
Yeah, I've heard you. Yeah, now that you bring that up, the nameless, faceless, whatever. Yeah. So I mean,
the nameless, faceless blobs, just blobs that are just meaningless smears that linger about. Anyways, but my whole thing is that the sky is something that's not really reachable. So yes, we can observe patterns that are in it, but technically if you want to be really, really intellectually honest with yourself, this is just me saying this. I just want to know your opinion on this whole thing. But technically, if you want to be really, really honest with yourself, you have to say, well, the sky is essentially intangible. So we don't know because we can't go there and touch it. So it literally could be a projection. The moon could, in a joking way, be made out of cheese. We don't fucking know any better. I mean, when you really think about it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I remember you saying that, I think, on the last hangout you did. And I actually used that. Somebody said, well, what's the fucking moon? I'm like, it's cheese. Yeah. Okay. So I basically used that, and I was out, and at least I got a laugh out of it. And I said, oh, it could be fucking cheese for all we know. You know, it could be. We really don't know. And you're right. Like, I totally agree. Like, when people, the thing that frustrates me when I meet some flat earth, like, I actually had a falling out with a flat earther recently, a friend of mine that I actually am the one that introduced him to it. And he's super Christian though, and like very like attacking one of my friends on my Facebook post, and was being like really like, just calm down. Like, I thought you're supposed to be like a Christian. You're supposed to be all like loving and shit. You know, I'm like, he just like lost on this dude, and then was like, oh, what do you like this guy or something? Like, no, dude, it's my friend. I'm like, I don't want to see any of that negative shit on here. Like, yeah, I mean, I didn't like delete any of his comments. Like, I really like that about you too, about your show, that you let all the trolls in, and you let it, you know, you just do what you want, you know, like, say, you know, like, it is what it is. But yeah, he just like started throwing all these weird insults towards me, and like, just because I'm not a Christian and everything, and I'm like, I don't subscribe to that, like, so the fuck with it. I'm like, yeah, but we don't know that shit's there. It could be a fucking ceiling, it could be no ceiling, it could be like what you said, it could be just a hologram, or, you know, and the fact that we've seen stars through the moon, like, we really have no idea what it is, you know. So yeah, that's my
well, yeah, because flat earthers typically are also, you know, NASA debunking folks, right?
Yeah.
So thing is that, well, if you're going to say we never went to space, well, then you have to say, well, then they never touched the sky. Or if they did, they're not telling us the information, and that means that there is a dome up there.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, there could.
Or something going on. Not necessarily a dome, but there's at least something going on up there, you know?
Yeah. Well, it could be a ceiling. Like, if there's an infinite plane, there could be an infinite ceiling, you know? Like, we don't really know. I mean, that's one of the points that John did bring up that I thought was interesting, was just, you know, well, a lot of people bring up is about the stars going a different way. But, you know, like, there was the Tide Observatory in like near the equator, where you see like two different swirls going, but that doesn't prove that we're on a ball. Just because stars are going a different way in a different part of Earth, that doesn't really prove anything. It just proves the stars are moving in a different pattern somewhere else, you know. Like if it is a magnetic sort of thing, like, maybe there is, like, you know, like, some weird patterns that, you know, and if the Earth does keep going, and maybe each little section has its own, you know, shape that the stars go in, its own stars, its own constellations, like, you know, we don't really know.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, if it is some kind of glass, you know, I like to lean towards the dome idea, but if it was some kind of glass dome, basically, or something, you know, that you could kind of see through, I guess, then maybe you could argue that these lights go around in the other direction when you get on the other side of the equator, and you go to the south.
Yeah.
You could say that, because that's their whole deal, is that, oh, the southern celestial pole, and it goes the opposite direction, proving that we're on a globe. Well, the thing is, if it's a dome, well, then maybe the whole projection of the stars that's being shot through this dome that we can't touch, this intangible thing that we can't reach or whatever, maybe around the bulgy edges, then maybe over there the light or something is pressing in at a different angle, and it all gives an illusion that it's going the other way, because it's really up there, and it's really something that's happening that's kind of more immaterial, or maybe at the very most electrical, you know?
Yeah. Or it could be like you know, like a reflection almost, or something off of the dome, for all we know. I mean, it's not like we can tell the specific stars from each other. Like, at the end of the day, there's so many of them that they all just look like dots of light. We don't know. They could be, you know, like, there could be some massive mirror in the sky somewhere we don't know about, that all, you know, I mean, really, like just because, you know, the Southern Cross doesn't come around, we don't see it. Like, if anything, that's to me more proof towards a flat stationary plane. I mean, just the fact that the astrolabe is still accurate to this day, and like, we, you know, like we can still navigate with the same North Star like 2,000 years later or whatever. It's just kind of like there's no way that we're flailing through space. You know, whatever it is up there, the one thing I know is that it's not what they're telling me. You know, like that's when people are like, well, if you don't know, then how can you sit here and say whatever? I'm like, well, yeah, maybe I don't know what it is, but I know what it isn't, and I know that it ain't what they're fucking telling me. That's for damn sure. You know, so that's all the only thing that I'm confident on is that I know that they're lying.
Well, that kind of brings us back. I mean, I'm pretty sure, Vlad, were you telling me that you said that you had just a couple questions concerning Rusted Souls videos?
Well, I went over to one about the shirt. I was wanting to talk to you about the shirt one, and I was going to ask you. I was going to see how good I was at still. I haven't been in Arizona for 3 years now, and but I noticed that at the Water and Ice place you were at, I was wanting to know where that was at. But I see most of your stuff is over in Tempe and Mesa, right?
No, I live like closer to downtown Phoenix, and then I work in Tempe. So when I'm on the train in the morning going to work, that's where a lot of those take place. And then I go all over the place. Yeah, I mean, I'm usually in Phoenix, like downtown Phoenix area is pretty much where I hang out most of the time. Tempe is like full of a bunch of college kids, and it's like it's a little you know. Just not my style, you know. Like
I know it's one of the liberal plate capitals of the United States. ASU.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of friends that hated on a lot of my posts because I try not to take a side either way because I think they're both idiots and they're both cousins, so it's whatever. But you know, if I had to pick one, I'd pick Trump over Hillary in a heartbeat just because of the fact. I mean, I'm also really into like the whole Pizzagate thing, and I think that like you know Hillary's like you know bad news basically. But that's also not to say that Trump, they are related and he is part of all that shit as well. So I'm not necessarily trying to be like, oh, he's great, you know. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just listened to Bro Sanchez's video about Tupac earlier today, and I was like, and he was like, if Tupac were still alive, he'd be president. Obama wouldn't have had a chance. I'm like, right, that's true. I used to love Tupac. Totally, you know, that's a whole. I haven't even thought about that in so many years. Just that whole, you know, thing, and that he was trying to get all political, and they killed him, and like, you know, it makes sense. I mean, anybody that's actually has any pull, that's a real person, of course they're gonna get killed off. You know, it's sad, but that seems to be the conspiratorial world we're in. You know.
Okay, and another thing, in one of your videos you mentioned about the CO2 and how plants live off that.
Yeah.
You're the first person I've heard say that, and I've been saying that for years, ever since this whole, you know, carbon tax thing that they've been doing. I'm like, isn't that what plants need? You know, us breathing out. I'm like, why wouldn't we want a lot of that for all the plants? You know, the ones that are, you know, they're saying there's a shortage of plants and, you know, the trees and stuff are, you know, the rainforest and all that stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, but the ones that are still here, they need that CO2. It's like, why would you want to lessen? Why would you want to lessen that? So I thought it was just interesting that you're the first person I've heard say it and talk about that.
Well, I actually learned that from my friend before I got into flat earth. I was really into like self-sustainability and gardening and learning how to live off the land. Like I lived in a couple of RVs and I used to plant gardens all over Phoenix, and pretty much anywhere I live, I plant a garden, you know. And my friend is like really into gardening also, and he's the one that said something about it, about, oh, plants thrive off of CO2 and blah, blah, and I was like, holy shit, and CO2 is, like, it clicked in my head. I was like, oh my God, thank you. Like, he totally, and even though he doesn't believe in flat earth, he doesn't believe in, you know, he's like, oh, global warming, it's fucked up. Like, yeah, but you're into plants and you get this, like, you're the reason that pointed this whole thing out to me, and he still is like, no, but the ice caps, they're melting. And I'm like, have you seen the fucking ice caps melt, dude? You don't know what you're talking about. Apparently, the ice is growing. So, you know, and I mean, right now, even in Phoenix, it's like nice out. Like usually around this time of year, like my birthday, it's usually hot as shit here by now. And right now, it's actually like I think like 80 degrees today. It was like, it was really nice yesterday when I came back from Austin. Like, I'm in Phoenix right now, global warming my ass, you know, like. But thank you. I definitely, you know, I don't know. I think that there's a lot that we don't know. You know, at the end of the day, like, I feel like the older I get, the more I realize that we don't know shit about anything. So.
And then one other thing I wanted to touch on, I want this is as a kind of playing around with something, but you're talking about how they, talking to people about how far they dug, which is like 7.5, 8 miles, the Russians.
Yeah.
And then it reminded me, and every time I think about that, it reminds me when I was a kid. I was probably like, 8 years old. I remember digging with a spoon, okay? I got my 8-year-old little arm digging in the ground, thinking, because I was told on the other side of the earth is China, thinking I was going to dig and, touch hands with another Chinese kid that was digging too. Every time I think about, somebody dug 8 miles, like with my little 8-year-old arm is like, wait, a foot and a half.
Right.
I always think about that. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I used to dig in the dirt a lot too. That is funny. Yeah, I used to dig a lot in the dirt. I always like playing in the dirt. I guess that's why I like gardening. Like, I feel like I'm like one with nature. I get all, get into it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we need to. I think the biggest thing for me is realizing how all the conspiracies are really interconnected. Like everything feeds into the next thing. Like global warming and like, 9/11 and just everything. Like people try to like pigeonhole themselves into one thing and think that we're all separate and we're all connected. Like, and we're not. It's all connected. And it makes me sad because sometimes I get shit talk for thinking the Mandela effect's real or whatever, having certain things that I do remember being a different way, and I'm like, you guys you're flat earther, you're being the same way that like what we complained about them, the 9/11 people talking shit on us is basically what you're doing to the Mandela effect people, and it's like, even if it's not true, even if you don't remember it that way, even if you don't agree, like, we can all like be, we can all just be accepting of each other and be like, okay, cool, you believe this, I don't buy it, I remember it a different way, move along, whatever,
Yeah, my feelings about the Mandela effect is this poor memory, and
Yeah.
I know that for myself, because there's things that's not even been brought up in the Mandela effect that I remember that I was like, huh, and I was like, okay, I remembered it wrong. I didn't think, oh shit, somebody's changing things on me, trying to fuck with my head. I never thought that. Like everybody's thinking right now. I'm like, they're fucking with us.
Right.
I'm like, what? I'm like, it's just a bad memory.
Yeah, well, and now I'm starting to think maybe it's not necessarily, because I mean, it was really hard for me to grasp too, as far as, like, I'm like, dude, nobody snuck into my aunt and uncle's house and changed the Star Wars fucking tape, like that did not happen. Like, there has to be some other explanation. And this blue-beard guy that I used to follow a long time ago, he, because I started getting Mandela effect about a year ago, and he just recently came out of the video saying that his family, like he did have family. I remember him saying a long time ago he had family, that he had kids that in this reality he doesn't have. And like I don't experience stuff like that. Like that's on a whole nother level. Like you got kids and your kids don't exist in this reality. Like what the fuck? And it could just be a story. I don't know. It could be full of shit. Could just be for ratings or whatever. I mean, I try to look at all aspects, but the way he described it was, well, maybe, it's not this world that's changing, it's us that's changing. It's like maybe we're getting moved, our consciousness is getting flipped or switched or something like that. And I mean, for how much crazy, unexplainable shit there is in this world and things that I can't bring myself to rule anything out, even though I don't agree with like half of the Mandela effects and I don't remember it that way. There are some things that I do agree with them on. So that's why I try to, I know I'm getting off topic here and whatever, but I'm trying to like tie it all in, like, like I do see there's this big divide in the flat earth community as far as whenever somebody brings up Mandela effect, like, oh, you're so stupid. Like you don't have to be mean, dude. Like you just don't remember it that way, It's all good. We can agree to disagree,
Well, what are some of the other really like your best Mandela effect examples personally?
The JFK one has got me the most, just because that was one of the first, like I was really into Bill Cooper a few years back, and that's actually when I was still believing in aliens at that point. And then I saw a video where he was talking about how he thinks like towards the end of his life, he thought that aliens were a government manufacturer, like the UFO thing was a government manufacturer thing. And then that like triggered something in me. And then I discovered Flat Earth like immediately after that. So it was kind of like it set me up to you know, because if I almost wonder if I didn't see that from him, if I would have been so open to the Flat Earth thing, because I was such a hardcore believer in aliens and UFOs and shit, you know, because I was here during Phoenix Lights. Were you here during Phoenix Lights?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing with anything that has to do with UFOs, I've researched that a lot, not believing that was true. I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on, and I noticed all sightings are by Air Force bases or some kind of military compound.
Was a 37th or 30 something parallel or some shit, right? Like some like degree. I guess there was some book my friend was just telling me about where there all this stuff is, all the bases, all the stuff is all like on one parallel or something. I don't know. But anyway, so you were here, you saw that when that happened? Do you
I remember I remember, what was that, 98 or 97, like, 99?
Something like that, late 90s, I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I'm seeing it, because it was up there. Well, how long were we out there for? Like a half hour or so? Because I was in West Phoenix. I was in West Phoenix, so I seen it when they had it on the news. I didn't actually see it in person because it was too far away. Because that was like in down. It would be in the northern part of the.
Yeah.
Wait, see, it was on the other side of Camelback, right? Or
Well,
north.
it was moving down. It moved down from the north and then went and disappeared behind South Mountain, basically. So my dad actually got me out of bed and was like, "Come out here, you gotta look at this." We used to look at the stars a lot when I was little. He had a telescope, and that was one of the things we did, is stargaze, and like we go camping a lot. And, like, you know, that was like one of the things that I really enjoyed about like our relationship was, you know, I was also like into stars and stuff. And so he came and got me out of bed and was like, "You gotta go check this out." And at that point, it was pretty far away. It was just looked like a big V in the sky that was like, you know, I mean, I could see it, but you could see lights on it. And I'm like, I was young. I think I was probably in like, you know, 6th grade or something, you know. But I just remember being like, what? And from that point, also, my dad showed me that movie Fire in the Sky when I was younger. I was probably in like 4th grade when I saw that, and it was up in Christopher Creek, and like he's like, "Oh, this just happened," like, or not, oh no, it just happened. He said it happened not too far away from here, and you know, in Strawberry, and I'm like, what? And I was freaking out because, you know, like watching this movie, a scary ass like alien he's telling, and he believed in aliens, so I was like, the alien thing was deep rooted from when I was a kid. So that was probably the biggest thing for me with Flat Earth, was like realizing like, holy shit, everything ever since I was little, even aliens are bullshit. Like, you know, like I can't trust anything. But yeah, I got super sidetracked. But you saw the lights and you believed in aliens for a while too?
Oh no, I've always known that aliens were demons. That's how I was.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, so I've known that since I can remember. I've never believed in aliens at all. But
yeah.
But I'm just saying that just looking into it to see what the heck is really going on with all this stuff. That's what I found out. You know, and Luke Air Force bases out there, and where's the hell, Litchfield Park.
Yeah.
So I just looked at it as just maneuvers that some planes that they had out there, they were just doing maneuvers. That's all I look at it. You know, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, now
that's all it was.
Yeah, and I mean, once I, you know, heard Bill Cooper say, like, you know, I know I used to push the alien thing, but now I'm thinking that they're just, you know, government operating. You know, they've kept us in the dark about so much stuff. Like Hitler had the first UFO or whatever, and like, you know, that technology has been around for a long time. We're just in the dark about it, you know. So basically, I got super sidetracked. We were talking about Mandela effect, and I got on aliens. But the JFK footage was probably the stuff that got me the most, just because about like, you know, 3 years ago I started looking into it, and I was looking into it like pretty heavily and was like studying it, and I was convinced the driver had shot JFK. I was like, oh, he turns around, and like right when he passes the girls in the black and the red little outfits, and he turns around, and you know, and I was convinced. And then now when I watch the video, there's 2 other people in between. It doesn't look at all like the driver does it, and to me now it looks like freaking Jackie did it. And I never like, I would have remembered, you know, like seeing that. So I mean, it is what it is. Like, I can't, there's really nothing that I can do to, like, I mean, everyone's got their ideas of is and everything. So, to each their own. But those were, one for me was the JFK one. And yeah, I'm trying to remember the other ones are just little stuff like just, logos, which could obviously be chalked up to, okay, you just don't remember, right? Or, whatever. And the Luke, I Am Your Father, obviously that one was like really big for me too, because I was really into Star Wars. And like, Chris Farley even, says in Black Sheep or whatever, like, in the fan, Luke, I Am Your Father, so, but I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off topic now. What did you say?
Can't hear you, BB.
Oh, there I go. Yeah, no, there's no guidelines or nothing. So whatever.
Word. So what are your thoughts on Mandela effect? You think it's bullshit?
Well, I mean, I put out a Mandela video. I've since taken it down. But I mean, it was talking about like logos and maybe brands can be bought out or acquired underneath other umbrella brands, and now all of a sudden some company now owns Frosted Flakes or something, and they spell it different because it's not the original, but it's still the same exact thing, but they just literally change the name, and it has something to do with like taxes and stuff like that. I think that stuff can happen too, and they just kind of drill it into your head. But then there's always like, you can always go back and watch old movies and look for these things in the old TV shows and old movies, and you'll see that they really did look a certain way, and it's like shocking to you, like how can this be? But I don't know. But I mean, I've experienced things like that before I knew it was called the Mandela effect. I've experienced the Mandela effect throughout most of my young life, I guess. I think that's a thing that just kind of happens.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I've noticed that too. That Bluebeard guy was kind of saying that too, where he's saying that he was going back and forth from one reality to another, and when he went back to the other one, that it was all the same, and that the people basically were raptured, is what they were, what they, that people literally just disappeared from another reality. Not everybody, just some people. And that his family saw him and was like giving him hugs. And it sounded like a really believable story. If it was just a story, like just some bullshit, it sounded really believable to me. I mean, maybe I'm just gullible, I don't know, but it's like, I mean, and that could be a possibility. To me, that sounds more believable than like they changed all of our, like stuff in reality here, like maybe there are, if we are on a flat plane and there are different, like layers, like we don't know if there's out there, if there are other, I mean, really at the end of the day, like there is a reason why they have CERN and all these crazy hadron colliders all over the world, specifically placed in certain, to me, I think anything's possible, and we're completely in the dark on all the shit that they do. So, I mean, I think I try not to rule out anything. I'm like, I find it all fascinating. I don't come home and like watch a lot of TV or anything like that. Like I'll have a couple shows that I'm hooked on that, I mean, like I watch obviously like the ones that, have the commercials and shit, but like even like Rick and Morty, like I just started watching that recently. That shit's hilarious. Even though it's all about space and like all the stuff I don't believe in, I still think it's a funny show. I can still like appreciate it for that on that level,
That show is so annoying. My sister and brother-in-law watch it, and my nephews, and I've tried watching it just to see what they're watching, and I'm like, oh, this tear my brain out. I can't. I don't like it.
No, there are parts. I know what you're saying. There are a couple times where I've been like, oh, that's kind of annoying, and like whatever. I mean, it's the same thing with like anything else. Like there's some parts that are funny, some parts that are annoying, and overall though, I think it's a pretty funny show. But I also really like South Park and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge South Park fan. I was. I have.
Okay.
I've seen every episode except for, I think I've seen them all now. I still watch the newer ones just to see what they're doing. I'm waiting for Flat Earth to go on there. I know pretty soon they're going to have an episode where I predict that Cartman's going to be trying to find the edge. That's my prediction. He's going to go on a mission You know, like remember when they were pirates when they went to the pirate. It's gonna be something like
Yeah.
it's gonna be something like that, and he's gonna be trying to find the edge of the earth. He's
That would be awesome. We should, if they don't, like, you need to like do that, like do a little skit, like just draw a little like chin or some shit. I don't know. Like, do our own flattered like show.
Yeah, I have a flat Earth animation I was working on. I have the storyline, a little bit of it. I don't want to give too much away, but it's kind of a back and forth thing. I'll say that much. It's a back and forth thing between globe and flat. You know, two people. You know, and their perspective, what you see, what they're seeing, what reality is, and it's just I'm trying to figure out how to put all together. But that's kind of what the idea is.
Nice. That's awesome. You see, that's the kind of stuff I feel like if they find it, if they want to. And like, if we just keep doing like they, you know, keep doing what we do and keep, you know, doing the things that inspire us and the artwork and the, you know, like, you know, I love that the Infinite Plane guys doing the, you know, art show. I'm actually going to be showing some stuff there, and Albuquerque's only like a 6-hour drive. So, you know, I think that's what we need. We need like organization, and we need to be like, just like, doing our own thing, you know. People want to believe that they live on a spinning ball. Cool, we'll be off burning globes or whatever, you know. Like,
well, let me ask you this: how do you feel about the whole idea that the truth should be free, and that some people, you know, like sell their stuff and maybe for like exorbitant prices and stuff? Do you feel like since they made it themselves, it's still grassroots and they deserve every penny they get, or are you more along the side of you know, and you don't really have to answer this if you don't want to, but
no, I will. I totally will.
More along the side of like, you know, the truth should just be free. Or, I mean, how do you feel about that whole situation?
I definitely think like the truth should be free. I mean, I think if somebody makes something, that they should get money for the time that they put into it, unless they choose to give it away for free, and then that's like a different, you know. I mean, I guess it depends on what it is that you're selling. I mean, if you're like selling books and stuff, and you put a lot of work and time into the book, and that's your craft, and I feel like everybody should be paid for their craft, whatever it is, you know. But I mean, yeah, I've always kind of been like I've teetered back and forth between like the people are like, you know, monetize and this and that, and you know, gotta get your money, and they do it full time from home, and if that's what you do and you get support, then more power to you. You know, at the end of the day, like who are we to talk shit on anybody? That if they can make money off of their ideas, and that's what, you know, what they choose to do, then that's fine. You know, I choose not to monetize. I mean, plus it's not like I have a bunch of followers or anything like that. So I'm just like, you know, I personally, it's not something that I want to make money off of. It's something that I'm passionate about. That's part of the reason why, you know, I do all the stuff that I do. As far as like, you know, if I was trying to make money, then I would have sold out a long time ago. Like, I had this like dude that worked for Nike that wanted me to come work for them, and I'm like, I don't work for sweatshops, sorry, you know. Like, I don't. That was my big awakening was actually before 9/11. I was in the fashion world. I went to school in LA, and they, you know, I realized like how corrupt the whole industry is, and that there's like children making clothes, and like I don't want to be anything to do with that. And I've had 2 investors now that wanted to do a line with me, but they wanted to get everything made in China because that's the only way to make money. And I'm just like, no, I don't care about making money. I'd rather go wait tables down the street and, you know, do it the way that I feel like is, you know, do it because I love to do it. And if I don't end up selling my stuff, then I don't end up selling it. And it's cool artwork that I made, and it is what it is. You know, I mean, if you love what you do, then you shouldn't need to get paid for it. It should just be something that's why you do it, you know?
Yeah, but it's tough because, you know, you're talking about artwork, and then there's a little bit of a difference between artwork and then like writing a book, and the main gist of the book is suggesting that it's a scientific you know, book about how the earth is flat, you know, and making it like a just making it like putting it on that official level like that, you know?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think any way you look at it, like it's still, I mean, even if it's work that's not even your work, but you're printing it up and you're putting the money forward to promoting it and doing whatever it is, like if people will buy it, then like more power to you. Like whatever. I personally like don't. I'm pretty frugal when it comes to like I'll listen to books on tape and shit. And I'm like I would like to support the artist sometimes, but I'm pretty broke for the most part. Pretty much, like just get by. Like I don't make like a ton of money, but I like it better that way because I've also seen the other people where that are on the opposite end that have all this money and they're super unhappy and they're angry and they're just like very like they're soulless almost, because they put so much like they just don't care, like they don't care who it affects or like whatever. But everyone's different, so it's really hard to say. Like if it was a specific example, I'd probably be able to answer it a little bit better, but I know it's kind of like a broad answer. I don't know if I answered it good enough.
Yeah. You there, Vlad? I see you messing around in chat, Vlad.
I'm here. I'm just listening in chat.
How do those lights keep changing in the brick atrium?
Oh, that's because I'm hitting my damn tripod, and then I have a light next to it, and it's flickering. See?
Oh, yeah.
What did you call it?
It's an atrium.
Brickarium?
It's called.
Oh,
well,
nah,
actually, no. It's actually an alleyway. This is where I'm sleeping tonight. It's an alley.
Nice.
It's a dark corner of an alley. That's actually a candlelight right there.
Fucking dingy dark corners.
That's my candlelight. So
That's Vlad's crusty fucking bed.
Yeah, dungeon. It's up in the corner in the brick wall. And that's funny is I have a lot of artwork. I was just telling VB earlier when we were offline or off air that I have a bunch of artwork I've done over the years, and I think I'm gonna make a video of them because some of them are pretty interesting. Like I have ones I drew with the moon, and what I did was I took a graphite and I covered the whole paper with graphite dust, and I went and smeared the whole paper so it's graphite, and then I used an eraser and erased spots so it had clouds and then the moon in it, So I was like,
Nice.
I was tripping out on that, and then I have one that's what foam core is? Where it's got the foam and it's got paper on both sides.
Yeah.
Well, I have a sun, but it has big old giant like hardcore flames. It's a circle. Well, obviously the sun is a circle, but and it's orange and it goes red and then the yellow, orange, yellow, and red. But it's 3D looking because of that. Cause I have it on that foam core. And what else?
Nice.
I'm trying to think of what else I have. A couple other things. I've drawn the sun and moon quite a bit over the years, not realizing anything about all this. For me, this is 15 years ago. And I also found a picture. We're talking about the black hole sun and stuff. And I have a picture because I've taken lots of pictures of the sun because I love the way the sun, when it hits the camera a certain way, it has that whatever you call, I don't know what it's called, the sunburst or whatever it's called. And so I would get pictures like that all the time. And I came across my pictures. And it has the sun, and it's got the black dot in the middle of the sun.
Nice.
But somebody told me
cool.
Somebody told me that this happens when the sun comes in the lens just right, that it just blacks itself out. But it's a perfect circle. I know it's probably about a fourth of the sun that's missing. I didn't realize I even had that picture until I started looking at all these pictures recently. And that picture is at least 15 years old.
It's like a sun donut.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's just got a black spot, so it's not like it's hollow, but it's just a black spot in the middle of the sun. It's pretty crazy. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, you should bust that shit out. Post it up,
Well,
keep doing it.
Well, or was there something else you wanted to talk about, Vlad? Sorry, because I wanted to move on to another topic.
Oh no! Oh, real quick with the Mandela effect. You were saying you've had it happen your whole life, not realizing what it was. I would have to add to that because that's why I always accredit it to the poor memory. And one thing in particular I haven't seen yet, was because it was only me, but because I was a huge Dukes of Hazzard fan, and Boss Hogg, the guy who played Boss Hogg, his name is Sorrel Book, and I always thought it was Sorrel Brook, like Brooke. And then I got I always thought it was Sorrel, Sorrell, Sorrel Brook. I thought his name was. Well, I got the box set of the whole entire series, and I looked and it says Sorrel Book, Booke. I'm like, what the hell? All these years I thought his name was Brooke. I thought his last name was Brooke, but
maybe there's other people that remember it that way too, though. You know, so
I just thought
crazy.
That's what I said. My automatic thought was I had a poor memory. I wasn't thinking, oh shit, somebody changed this. They're fucking with me.
Right? I never thought about that before either. And then, you know, the more I started thinking back on my past too, like there's been a lot of things where I just always thought I had a bad memory. You know, like I smoke. I'm like, you know, I don't have the best memory, so I do try to chalk certain things up to that. But there was specific things like that JFK man. That's the one that really sold me on it. I was like, no fucking way. It's not 6 people. You know, like even in the museum, it's a 4-seater car, and like now all the footage is different. And unless they just had 2 different footages, like maybe we are, you know, traveling, you know, go to sleep and all of a sudden you'll switch with an alternate you from another universe and then switch back. Maybe, you know, who knows? Like, I mean, the possibilities are endless, really.
Flat Earth is a cult. Flat Earth is a cult asking if I talk funny or if his speakers are blown. I guess I talk funny.
I talk funny too. So.
Actually, your audio is coming through really good tonight, bro.
It's because I'm in this little cubby hole. In this little part of the. It's this alleyway. It's the alley I'm sleeping in tonight.
Good
warm
audio.
And cozy. Warm and cozy, mere blocks away from the trash beach.
It might be because I was too close too. I was pretty close. When I was messing with this or here, I stayed a little too close because I've been kind of far back. Like right now, I'm about 3 foot back. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great. I think you should sing us something. What's your favorite song? So you check out the acoustics in there. So you should sing us something. You know, check out the acoustics in your corner there.
Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to.
Sing us some Bon Jovi.
I don't want to traumatize anybody.
Man, you guys made it too lighthearted. I was going to shift topics and go to the dark side of things.
Do it. I like the dark side.
Well, it's not the dark side, really. I was going to say, well, you know, how do you feel about, I know you said that you're not, you know, religious, not Christian or anything like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, no. I grew up in a Lutheran school. I grew up learning the Bible a bunch, and it was pushed on me quite a bit as a child, and I always was like very hesitant. I was like borderline atheist before I, you know, came into flat earth stuff. And you know, I realized, and actually I did start getting into Rob Skiba. I met some people in Cottonwood that were actually flat earthers, a couple, and we used to go play pool with them a lot. And he's the one that turned me on to Rob Skiba, actually. Going to his church, and I started, you know, doing like making little dresses for little Haitian kids with the church group with the little old ladies and stuff. And that's the part that I liked about it, was like, you know, meeting new people and like doing nice things for the community. And like I feel like the flat earth community can do that. It doesn't have to be a religious thing, doing nice things for people and like, you know, doing like whatever, but I still didn't feel like the way I felt like I should feel if it was the truth, you know. Like I just always felt like there was something holding me back, like something like I'm like I don't know, I just don't trust it. Like this book, you know, I'm supposed to trust a book. Like I don't know. I mean, even Jesus said, "You can't find me in your churches," you know. Like I feel like anything organized like that and pushing some words, you know, which that's another Mandela effect. My mom actually was tripping out about some of the Bible changes, you know, and as a few that I remember too, because I used to have to memorize a lot of the Bible verses in school and everything. So,
well, I know there's like a King James and a New King James, and there's an NIV. And
yeah,
those ones, I did a bunch of research on that stuff a long time ago because I read through the King James version Bible and studied it, you know, extensively, like in 2005, 2006, 2004, I think. And you know. Well, really, so you're familiar with all the concepts in the Bible. You're totally familiar with all of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking back on everything that you feel like might be closer to reality that you know now, you know, like flat Earth, for example, NASA's fakery, world measure, you know, measures of world population control.
Oh yeah.
You know, mental control of the world, all this stuff. So what's your concept concerning the idea of Adam and Eve? Even if you want to say that the Bible is completely, you know, stories or whatever, just what's your, and how does that affect, you know, how does that interplay with flat Earth? And like, even more broad, how does it interplay with like creation versus, you know, an infinite kind of a thing? What are your feelings on all that stuff?
I honestly, like, I feel like that I don't think we just came from one man and one woman, you know, like I personally think that I think it's kind of always been like this. Like, I don't know how it got created or how it ever started, but just considering how the different races are and how we differ so much and like just within our like DNA and everything, like to me, like it's just really hard to believe that we all came from just two people, you know? But I mean, I don't knock anybody. Like my mom's super religious and I still do Bible study stuff with her sometimes. And I still am like trying to stay open-minded to it. Like maybe, you know, Jesus will show me the light and like, I don't know. But at the end of the day, like I still have a very conspiratorial mind and I kind of always have been. Even when I was little, apparently I was like 5 trying to peel my mom's face off because I thought she was an alien or something, she told me. So I mean, like really, I don't trust the I don't trust the books. I just don't trust it. I mean, there's something about it. I can't really explain it. It's more of a gut instinct. It's more of like I know that we were created. I know that there's a creator. I think that there's definitely higher shit out there, but to think that we can even wrap our brains around it, to me, I just don't think we even can comprehend it. Even if we could put it into words, we probably wouldn't understand the words, you know? So,
yeah, I've been saying that, the same thing you just said. I've been saying that for a long time. I don't even know if I've actually said that myself on YouTube in any videos or anything, but that's definitely something that I can relate to there, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
so are you Christian or are you like not, like you're kind of,
well, you know, I don't want to
label
see, there's this, I don't know. It's just, there's so many questions, you know, there's part of me that I definitely believe that, I'm 100% positive that there's a creator, because like the material world is a creation. So therefore there's no creation without a creator. It's just like real base logic, right?
Totally.
Even though it's extremely complex logic, it's also extremely base logic at the same time. And it's like,
for sure,
you know, creation, creator, obviously. So there has to be this thing. And plus okay, so the Bible is weird because on a metaphysical level, some of the attributes that are given to the creator of the Bible, the one that's described in the Bible, I guess the Hebrew section of the Bible, or ancient, whatever culture it's supposed to have been from and everything, historical culture, it's supposed to be, that stuff aside, the metaphysical descriptions that are in the Old Testament, in the early parts of the Bible, seem to correlate with the existence of the material world. And it almost interplays like with this beautiful harmony. I mean, I am guilty of reading a certain author that was like both a Jewish rabbi and a astrophysicist, metaphysicist, fucking theoretical, whatever the fuck his job was. But he had some good books and they were just interesting and fun to read, you know, years ago. But I mean, logically, there has to be a creator. So
yeah, for sure.
Now, when it comes to the Christ figure, I don't want to sell out, because, you know, Jesus essentially says that he is the creator, but just in the physical form, in the material world. So therefore it's the Son of God, but it's not really like his birth son. It's supposed to be like him, like the duplicate of him, you know?
Yeah.
And like, that's what the Bible actually says. It actually describes the creator and the Christ that way. But the Christ figure emulates from this other testament that was added on by Romans, you know. Romans took supposed ancient texts and then supposed semi-ancient Greek texts, combined them, and called it the Bible, and then King James came and took that Bible and did a whole bunch of stuff to it.
Yeah.
Anglicized it and stuff. And so, but the root concept, I still think probably rings through. I'm assuming that the main theme runs through. The main theme of the entire thing is supposed to be that there's a creator, and then later on that the creator emulates or manifests in the physical form and visits the earth to prove that there is a creator, you know. And but the thing is that Christ figure shares so many characteristics with so many other Roman integrated pagan traditions and so many other things, you know, that it just makes the whole thing so suspect, you know. But then there's always this section of, you know, the Old Testament that's like, wow, this is this beautiful description of materialization of the physical realm of existence, like matter and existence.
Well, what if it's like kind of like the Alex Jones of like religion, where like, you know, he gives you a little bit of truth, but like holds back like the real shit, but gives you just enough so that you have everybody like buying it, because there's a certain part of it does ring true to me too, which is why I've been so on the fence and so teeter-tottering between going back and forth of whether or not I trust it or don't trust it. It is, you know, written by man. It has been rewritten a million times. They did burn all these books. They did, you know, burn people at the stake for writing fucking their own versions of the Bible when they did learn how to write. And there's, you know, there's so much messed up history with Christianity and like the, you know, everything that it makes me feel like, you know, even if certain things does ring true, there's still like all these people that did all these fucked up shit in the name of that, you know? And so then it makes me also think like, well, shit, dude, if this made people turn and act like that, then I don't want nothing to do with that, you know? Like there's like, and I don't know.
Yeah, but that's one of those things that happens just sometimes organically with any like big mass movement type things, you know, or, you know, changes in, you know, paradigm shifts, you know, in the population. That kind of thing happens.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, really, at the end of the day, I don't think any of us will know until we probably die and meet the creator ourselves and then be like, so tell me about the Bible. What's up with that shit? Was it true? Was it not? You know?
Yeah. Dang. Okay. That's cool. I guess that's, you know, just breach on that topic, because, you know, if we're talking about that, if we're out here proselytizing to people that the earth is flat, then we have to be able to, I mean, it's going to come down to a faith-based thing. It really does, you know. And see, the thing is that because the Bible is contorted and is supposed to be an amalgamation or whatever of all these different cultures' histories, some people theorize, and there's strong evidence for that. And you know, even if it is just this bastardized collection of creation stories and stuff like that from different periods of history or different areas of the world, there still has somebody along the line describe this this creation and the creator like early on in the Bible. So to live life and say that Bible specifically, and that creator in that Bible, who does have, like you said, all these other odd characteristics, and coupled with the fact that people do all these horrible fucked up things in the name of that religion and every religion, that's why you kind of got to take that stuff with a grain of salt. It's just like someone out there let that little bit through, and it's probably a really heavily watered down version of what was once
exactly
possibly written. Maybe not, you know, but possibly what's written.
For sure.
So I mean, like, that's why I try to live like a virtuous life as much as possible.
And we all know it's ingrained in us what's right and what's wrong. We don't need a book to tell us what to do and how to act and how to be nice to people, you know.
So is there anything else you want to brush on? What else you got coming up on your channel coming up soon?
Well, I'm editing a bunch of that crazy night in Austin when I had like half the bar coming up to me and yelling at me. I have a bunch of that on tape, so I'm going through that and trying to like see what I can get out of that. I just got back yesterday, so that, and then just working on my clothing stuff that I've been trying to focus on, and I got some other friends that been hiring me to do some of their sewing work. So trying to balance, like, all right, I gotta make money, but I also like really, you know, I get inspired by the flat earth stuff and I go off on my little tangents and, you know, wanna do all that stuff too. But, you know, I also have to think about like putting time aside for like, you know, my own stuff that I'm trying to do also. But I mean, I just started making videos like 3 weeks ago. So basically I don't even know what's, you know, every day is different. Everything that I record brings out different topics and different things sometimes. So
Yeah, but
yeah, I appreciate, sorry.
no, yeah, we've seen you around for a long time, you know, just then you
Yeah.
start coming out with videos. I guess it just, it notified me. It sent me, you know, put it in my suggestions or something. And then there it was.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. Being,
and then
actually I was like, sorry, go ahead.
well, I could have sworn that you had maybe appeared on a show somewhere before even, but I
No.
see, maybe I got Mandela affected.
Maybe that was my alternate self that was like making videos in another reality that you visited for like a day and now I don't know. But no, I mean,
oh yeah.
right. I mean, I've been around, I've been listening, I've been commenting, you know, for a long time. So maybe it's a comment that you remember seeing from way back or something. I just, you know, I guess I just didn't have the balls. I've always kind of been like, you know, like I say all this stuff, but then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to put it on the internet for everybody to see, because, you know, but I'm glad that I did, because I've gotten a lot of really good feedback, and I feel like, you know, like maybe some people find it interesting, so I might as well put it out there and fuck it, you know.
Were there ever other things that you kind of took this activist attitude towards before?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the first thing would be the whole sweatshop stuff. That was before I found out about 9/11. That was probably like 2005, 2004, something like that. I was super. I mean, I always questioned the authority. I used to be into like punk and metal and drum and bass and all these like kind of alternate, would attract the, you know, the type of crowd, the anarchists, you know, kind of crowd, which I've always, you know, kind of been attracted to, just because I've always felt deep down that something is off and something isn't right, you know. And so I was very much into talking about, you know, how we needed to like not support sweatshops and being self-sufficient. And I've always kind of had my little tangents that I go off on, you know. 9/11, I've almost got like this dude, I'm surprised he didn't punch me in the face. He was like a military guy. It was like probably 2006 or 7. It was when I first saw Loose Change. And I was, you know, talking to this guy about it, and he was getting so mad and so worked up about it. And, you know, because he, you know, he went and he was a military dude, you know, and probably had to kill people, and I feel bad for that. And I'm not, he's like, are you saying that I'm like, you know, doing like I'm this terrible person? I'm like, no, I'm not saying you're terrible. I'm saying our government's fucked up and you were duped, and it's just saying maybe you should think about, you know, like, you know, if you want to keep doing, if you like the military, you feel good about what you're doing, then keep doing it. But if you feel like, and obviously he did feel guilty, he did have some sort of like, you know, otherwise he wouldn't have reacted to me in that way, because he's like, you think I like doing this? I'm like, well, then just stop doing it. Nobody's making you do what you're doing. You know, you can walk away at any time, you know. It's the thing, it's free will, you know. But yeah, I've always kind of been a firecracker, ginger, Irish, German, you know, definitely feisty for sure.
Yeah.
How about you? Were you 9/11? Was that your kind of, you go off on
I
that
mean,
stuff?
yeah, when it was around, you know, do you ever see the whole Zeitgeist movies?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was, you know, sorry.
Did you see all 3 of them?
Yeah, when they first came out or whatever, however many, it's probably 2009 or something when I saw them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was blown
I got-
away when I first saw it. But,
Yeah.
you know, it was also stuff I kind of already knew about, so I was already into it. But, you know, I was still questioning the whole, you know, because then I heard that the beginning part had gotten debunked about the religious stuff, like that wasn't really true or something. But then, you know, I mean, really everything's hearsay, and that some people say it's bullshit, and other people are like, no, really, all of them are, you know. So I don't know. I take everything with a grain of salt, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these ancient traditions that are supposedly from ancient Egypt cross over so well with other religions and all this stuff. It's just, it's it's very confusing, and it's like, do I really have the historical, degrees of knowledge, 20 years studying this one specialized subject to really know that I know what I'm talking about if I'm going to bring up hieroglyphics or something, I don't have that.
Yeah.
But it all seems to, zeitgeist is that word means like shifting spirit of the times or something like that, or spirit of the ages.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think, I don't know. I think that's what it means.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I mean, I think that's what it translates to.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I watched it like once, and I sent it to a couple friends at the time, like, oh, this is crazy. You gotta watch this. So I mean, I've kind of always been into weird, off the wall topics.
So before 9/11, it was pretty much UFOs for you.
Yeah, I mean, well, the UFOs were, pretty much since I was a kid, because my dad was super into it. And then, like, the thing that I got most passionate about was more the, like, not supporting sweatshops and being self-sufficient. I like wanted to go live off the land. I still want to. I'd still love to get into some or something and like build a little adobe house, and even if it's not somewhere that you live all the time, but just to have like a little escape place that's like your own, that's by a river or something. So, and then you'd like, like I have places now that I think of that are about like 2 hours north, like in Cottonwood and stuff, that I would go to. So we always gotta have that, like that backup. I got my bug out bag with my, like definitely like I practice my right as citizen of Arizona, at least, to own guns and stuff. I'm very much like pro the amendments and everything.
That leads me to another question I forgot I was going to ask. I was going to ask both you guys, but Rusted Soul, go ahead first. Living out in Arizona, and you're from there, how much traveling do you guys do, being so far inland and everything? And where would you go? How far away are the places that you go? How often do you go, or do you kind of stay in town a lot of the time, or what's it like out there?
I stay in Phoenix. Like I just moved back here like about a year ago. I was in Cottonwood for a year, which is like 2 hours north, and they have like the Verde River, and there's some little lakes around, and some cool stuff to do. Sedona's right there, and Jerome and everything. So I mean, I like to try and travel and get out as much as I can afford to, but that's an issue too sometimes. But that would pretty much be the area that I would probably escape to if I did need to, like, because Phoenix is not like, there's water here. There's like Tempe Town Lake, but it's like gross water. You wouldn't want to swim in it, I don't think. Like, I mean, I'm sure some people do. They're probably from out of town. I don't know. I'm grossed out by Phoenix personally. Like it's like a dirty desert rat town in the middle. I love it because like I'm from here and I got people here and there is good food here and it is growing and everything. But I'm also super ginger and I burn really easily, so I keep like an umbrella with me when I go out. Like I actually used to do roofs with my dad and like work on tile and do outdoor like landscaping and stuff. And I just wear a hat and like the long sleeves, and it's like torture in the summer though. It's way super hot, and I personally like wouldn't suggest Phoenix as like the best place to be, especially if shit hits the fan. Because if it happens in the summer, your air conditioning goes out, you're basically dying. But
Yeah.
Hey, were you there when the Tempe Town Lakes? Remember when that bladder broke?
No, I don't remember that. When was that?
It was holding it back on the west end of it. They call it it's that big rubber. It's a bladder. They call it a bladder because it's just something to air up. And
Yeah.
and it broke one year. And all the fish in there, I mean, there's like hundreds of thousands of fish. Because they have fish in there, they put fish in there so people can fish. Not supposed to be in there swimming.
Yeah.
So, but all those fish went down the rest of the river and all died. And I had people out there. I mean, they'd tell people to go out there. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but there was people going out there trying to, get the ones they could. But within a matter of 2 hours, they were all dead. I was wondering if you were out there when it happened. I think it happened in 2012, maybe 2013.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was living in New York at that point. But,
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love it here. I'm not trying to like sit here and dog the town that I'm from, but you know, I'm from here, so I've also like, you know, I've been here my whole life, and I'm like, you know, I think I really like green, like trees and water and you know, stuff like that. And if you go, I mean, up north isn't too far. You know, it's 2 hours. Is the closest.
Yeah,
You know,
I
really
love
place to
Sedona is
be.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, I was
yeah. I love Cottonwood.
yeah, Cottonwood's cool. Actually, talking about Cottonwood, that was the first time this is the only time I ever seen. I seen a rainbow, and we were driving on this freeway, and it was hitting the side of a mountain, right? And then the rest of so I seen one end of the rainbow, and then when we passed it, it was actually wide too. And then it went down, and the curlers reversed, and they reversed again. I wish that was like in
What?
1991. It was weird, and
That's
I never
crazy.
forget that. But you can see it going off in the distance. I mean, it just went on like it went on forever, and it just kept on going. But as we went past it,
Yeah,
it was so. I wish I had a video camera back then, but you didn't have that stuff so easily in
yeah,
1990. I think it was 90 or 91 when I seen that. It was
yeah.
pretty awesome. But I'll never forget. I've tried drawing it, but it don't come out right.
Yeah, it happens to me a lot too. I have an image in my head of something that I want to make or paint or something, and it never usually comes out the way that you imagine it in your head. But were you there? Have you seen there was somebody that posted like a double sun in Tempe like a couple years ago. I just recently found it. He's standing in his backyard in Tempe, and he shows like one side of his yard, and there's the sun setting, and then he shows the other side of the yard, and it's setting also. And I've seen like a few
Huh?
different people talking about like double suns being like in the sky, and you know, I mean, I know I've heard people talk about how Boeing has a patent for artificial sun, like maybe they were testing it or something. I don't know, but you
Yeah,
know,
I've only seen the
if you just
footage.
look,
I think the footage I've seen was in Australia. They had the double sun. I think there's a couple different ones from Australia. I haven't seen the one
yeah,
from Tempe.
yeah, just if you look up like double sunset or something in Tempe in Arizona, and it was, I mean, I just found it like a couple months ago, and it was like, holy shit, that's pretty crazy. And I mean, it looks like, I mean, it's the nobody kind of guy. It's not like he had a ton of views or was like doing any videos on any other stuff. It was just some random guy that was like, "Two suns in the sky."
Huh.
Like, all right. So
Yeah, see, I didn't find out about the flat Earth until I was living in Oklahoma in 2015. But when I was living in, I mean, before then, I was living in. I wish I would have known when I lived in Arizona, because there's a lot of things I can think of. Like I remember if you were way out in like Litchfield Park area or like where White Tanks is at,
yeah,
right? If you can look from White
yeah.
Tanks and see Apache Junction, and that's like almost
Oh, I should.
that's like 55 miles, because of that Superstition Mountain. I remember seeing.
Yeah, that.
You don't even have to be on the mountain over there. You could be on the bottom part of White Tanks, because that's the mountain right there, and it has, I don't even know why they call it White Tanks, but yeah. And I was like, man,
Yeah.
I tried getting Google screenshots, the street view from out like I-10, looking out,
Yeah.
looking east, but that's not clear enough. But yeah, if you get a
Yeah.
chance, maybe you should try to do something with that and see if you can
I
get
should. That's a really
some
good
good.
idea.
I think that's like 55 miles if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, it's
pretty damn
pretty
far. And
far.
you can, yeah,
I've
which
thought
is,
about that. I really want to get one of those Nikon P900s or whatever. Definitely want to get one of those. But even just with a regular camera, like just taking pictures, like I should totally do that. Because I did do something not like that extreme. I just put one of those little flags, like the construction flags that are just like a little wire, that stands maybe like 4 inches off the ground or something. And just I was driving to
yeah,
LA, and I just I was like, all right, it's a pretty flat stretch of ground, and I just put it in the ground and then went like 3 miles away or whatever, and I could still see the little flag. I could zoom in with my camera. I had some binoculars and stuff, and I'm like, all right, well, at 3 miles, I could still see it. I could see the little orange thing in the wind, and it didn't drop, it didn't disappear. So when people are like, oh, what's your experiment that you did? I'm like, I did that. I did a moonlight test too once, like last year, and I got varied results. Like sometimes it was, I guess it depended too, because I did it in the wintertime, I did it in the summertime. And one time it did vary from like 3 to 7 degree difference. Like it was cooler in the in the direct moonlight than it was in the shade of the moonlight. And I went out like, so I didn't have anything near me, like trees or like buildings or anything to like, you know, whatever. But I mean, I don't know if that proves anything, but you know, it kept me entertained for the night. I'm all out there with, so I used to work in the kitchen, so I had one of those, what are they called? The laser pointer thermometer things, you know?
Yeah, I got
like,
one. I got one of those.
Yeah, so I had one of those, and I was out there like testing stuff. My uncle was like visiting us from Wisconsin, and he's all like like seeing how hot his poop is and stuff, and just, you know, weird shit that uncles do. Like he's like, let me see that thing. I'm like, oh, gross, what the hell, uncle? But anyway.
Well, I bought one for the house that my girlfriend moved into. We were checking the AC to make sure the AC was cold as, you know, the cold, and make sure it wasn't going to have to be, you know, the AC replaced. So we're checking all the different vents and stuff, and then checking, you know, once it's on,
Yeah.
you put it on the wall and you see how cool it is in the room. That's the reason I got it, and then I can use it for all these other experiments now. I haven't even done that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's something that's small and you can do, you know, in your backyard or whatever. It's not too crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been looking for somebody, trying to find somebody. Actually put an ad on Craigslist. I probably need to update that. It's probably about a month ago, because I need, there's a bay here. It's from one end to the other. It's 30 miles, and I want to get somebody on one side and shine a mirror towards the other side, and see it, you know, so you can see the sun reflecting off the mirror. And
Yeah,
but I need
that's a
to.
good idea.
That's what I hope no. Well, I guess if anybody does it, that, you know, I know I have a record. I was the one thought of trying to do it first, 'cause I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anybody do it. So I have
Yeah.
I have the mirror. I have a 2 foot by 3 foot mirror. I've been waiting to do it, but I need somebody else to help me do it. And
Yeah.
my family here, they're too busy doing other stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah,
ugh.
for sure.
So I put an ad
Yeah, it's
on.
hard to get people.
If I have a video,
But
and then I put an ad on Craigslist. Haven't gotten a response yet.
nobody responded. I was
No.
gonna say, anybody respond? I love Craigslist, man. I found both of my RVs on Craigslist. I've sold both of my RVs on Craigslist. Like I found numerous jobs and shit, man. I'm not gonna lie, I found a bunch of cool stuff on there. But yeah, I mean, the way that, you know, you brought up like, oh, I don't know if someone's gonna hear this or take it. I thought the same thing about my flat earth skirt idea thing, and like someone's gonna take it, and I'm like, oh, whatever. Like the way I feel about it is like, let anybody take whatever ideas that, you know, like I kind of think of us as like one big, like, even though I don't know a lot of people, a lot of flat earthers, like one big flat earth family. You know, I can't make like a million skirts myself, so I'm thinking about doing like a how-to video in my skirt, you know, and like I'm making like this
There you
massive
go.
screen, you know, and just basically like, so, because I mean, I'm not going to be able to like make a ton for everybody, but you know, if you don't feel like making it and you want to get one from me, then I can hook you up. If not, here's how you do it. And either way, it gets the word out, and it gets people involved, and like gives people ideas to keep doing whatever it is that they want to do. You know, like if it helps get the word out, then fuck it, who cares? And the thing I realized about the fashion world is you can't like copyright. Like it's not like art. You can be like, that's my image, you can't use that. But in the fashion world, like people can see something and recreate it, and it's totally legal. Like I learned that. That was one of the first things I kind of learned the hard way. I like saw some of my stuff getting made that I knew that my teacher basically stolen from me. And but it's legal. I mean, anybody. That's why people in New York can make money off of handbags and stuff. They're like knockoffs. Like it could be something as little as the stitching is just a little different, or they have a different lining or something like that, and everything else could look exactly like it. And you know, you're not going to get in trouble because you can see something and recreate it and whatever, you know. But I mean, at the end of the day, like if someone wants to take the idea, they're going to take it, and that's fine. And it's, you know, whatever. I mean, if it gets people talking, if you can make a skirt for yourself and wear it out, and someone's like, "That's an awesome skirt," and then you start, that's a good. Oh, this is the flat earth skirt. This is the model. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want to see the map? Here, let me sit down. You can check it out, and like have it all just like a big circle around you, you know, and like, I mean, whatever. I try not to hoard on to like ideas like that, and like try to share as much as I can, just so that, you know, we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to like wake people up and you know, make people start thinking and you know, realistically, like I'm one person sewing. I can't ask for these things. You
Your one-on-one approach like that,
know?
it's one of the many options, and you're one of the people that exercises that option. So
Yeah.
just take pride in that, you know. That's all I got to say about that. Take pride in that.
Word. Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I think unless you guys want to talk about anything else specific, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. I'm good. Thanks for
Yeah, I
having me
think
on. This was really fun.
I pretty much covered everything I was wanting to talk about.
Okay.
I did want to mention, now I'm probably going to be doing the live on, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do it live on location or just do a live hangout with the 1,000,001 reasons the shape of the earth is important. I'll be doing that probably in the next couple days.
This is going to be like a 75-hour broadcast.
Yeah. I might have to do it in parts. Yeah.
We're here.
1,000,001 reasons that, wait, what did I say was? I already forgot. 1,000,001 reasons the shape of the earth is important. That's what it is. So look out for that, everybody.
Nice. That's good. Awesome. I'll check it out for sure.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to end the show here. This has been a lot of fun. Stay on for just a second after. I'm going to take it off live.
Okay.
It's been great I got both you guys channels linked in the description already. So it's been an honor having you. I guess this is your first time being on a Hangout?
Yeah, first time ever.
Oh, cool. All right. I hope it was pleasant. I hope your Flat Earth Hangout experience was pleasant.
It was. Thank you. You're a very good little interviewer, whatever.
I guess. Thank you.
Well, I thought it was great. You had really good questions, I thought.
All right. Thank you very much. It's been great having you on. And also, Vlad, it's been great having you on too, bro, again.
Yeah, awesome as always.
Okay, stay on with me, guys.
Okay.
All right, this has been Validation Boy live stream, May 8th, 2017.